And from Knowledge for a Competitive America, please welcome a director at that organization, Pamitha Weerasinghe. Pamitha.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Jim. And my thanks to you and Ron Burke from the American Astronautical Society, and to Marty Frederick, Stephanie Getty, and the entire planning committee for putting together such a great symposium. Good afternoon. I am Pamitha Weerasinghe. It is nice to see some familiar faces in the room today. I've had the pleasure of working adjacent to and inside this community, first as professional staff on the House Science Committee, and then in subsequent roles at NGOs and within industry. But I'm honored now to serve as Director of Knowledge for a Competitive America. We are a national campaign focused on protecting essential federal science agencies and programs that support key industries and services impacting the daily lives of every American. Naturally, this includes NASA's Science Mission Directorate and the Goddard Space Flight Center. When most people hear the word NASA, they think of distant stars, deep space exploration, and breathtaking images of the cosmos. But the people in this room and across the Earth science enterprise are doing something just as extraordinary. You are helping humanity better understand the only planet we have. For nearly 70 years, NASA has helped build the observational and analytical systems that allow us to monitor our planet, understand complex environmental systems, and better anticipate the challenges ahead. The satellites designed, built, and operated by the teams represented in this room collect data that power the models, forecasts, and decision support tools used by governments, industries, and communities across the United States and the world. And the impact of that work is far larger than most Americans realize. Today, 74% of Fortune 100 companies rely on NASA Earth science data to inform logistics, operations, and risk management decisions. Global financial institutions increasingly use NASA data in AI-driven models to evaluate weather and climate risks across investment portfolios. Farmers depend on Earth observation data to monitor water cycles and anticipate drought. Emergency managers rely on satellite observations to track extreme weather and coordinate disaster response. And every person on Earth with a smartphone benefits from the geodesy technologies that enable precise GPS positioning and satellite calibration. In other words, the work happening here is not just scientific exploration, it is national infrastructure. NASA provides integrated observations, advanced models, and trusted data systems that help protect lives, safeguard property, and strengthen the resilience of our economy. And as all of you know, much of that innovation begins with NASA Goddard, the nation's premier center for building spacecraft, developing Earth-observing instruments, and advancing the computational models that bring those observations to life. But as powerful as these capabilities are, as we heard from Director Simmons this morning, they can often remain invisible to the public. People see the forecast. They see the flight that lands safely through turbulence. They see farmers making planting decisions and insurers assessing risk. But they rarely see the satellites, the models, the data systems, or the scientists that make those services possible. That is why Knowledge for a Competitive America exists. Our goal is to tell the story of how investments in federal science translate into tangible benefits for American communities and industries. We believe that America's leadership in Earth observation and environmental intelligence is not simply a scientific achievement, it is a strategic national advantage. The open data systems, advanced models, and world-class research institutions that define the US Earth science enterprise have helped create an innovation ecosystem that benefits universities, government agencies, startups, and major industries alike. Accessible Earth observation data stimulates commercial innovation, powers emerging AI applications, and strengthens the rapidly growing Earth observation economy. But leadership in science is never guaranteed. It depends on the choices that we make as a nation. Choices about whether we continue investing in observation systems that allow us to understand our planet on a global scale. Choices about whether we maintain the research institutions that transform raw data into actionable insight. Choices about whether we recognize science as a long-term strategic investment in American prosperity and resilience. The scientists, engineers, and innovators gathered here today represent one of the greatest strengths of the United States, a national commitment to discovery, innovation, and public service. Your work helps protect communities, it strengthens industries, and it expands humanity's understanding of the complex systems that shape our world. On behalf of Knowledge for a Competitive America, I want to thank you for that work and for the leadership you provide in advancing one of the most important scientific frontiers of our time. Thank you, and I will yield the balance of my time.
All right. And yeah, please find him in the room if you want to know more about it. It seems to me like a fantastic initiative, and so I think we can all benefit from it. So before we get into the awards presentation, I just wanted to take a quick moment to mention our student CANSAT competition. So this is a payload design, build, and fly competition that we host every year. We have over 100 teams from around the world apply for this, teams of 10 students each, and 40 or so are selected to go to launch weekend. We provide the rockets and the motors, they provide the payload, so CANSAT, about that big, and they have a very specific and incredibly challenging mission objective that they are supposed to try to achieve. They are scored, they are evaluated, and they go through all the steps that a real satellite development program goes through. Preliminary, PFR, CDR, all of that, and they even have to make a final presentation the next day after launch. So it's a very rewarding competition, and AAS has some finances to help fund it, but we do also get and appreciate support from organizations. We have Praveen here today from SSAI. They contributed this year a large amount to the competition, and they have set up a matching amount for that. So anybody who donates to the competition or supports the competition between now and June, your dollars will be matched up to a certain level. So we're very thankful for that. We couldn't do it without you. And if you are interested in that at all, it's the first weekend in June down in Stanton, or Staunton, Virginia, depending on your pronunciation of it. So that's CANSAT. Please ask me any questions about that. Now, we have 2 more awards to present today before we get to our keynote speaker. So as I start reading off the citation, if the winners could come on up, and we will present you with an award, pause for a photo, and then hear from you. So our first award to present today is the AAS Space Technology Award. That was established to recognize an outstanding achievement in space technology. A new era of space exploration started as Firefly became the first commercial company to successfully land on the moon. This Firefly mission was part of NASA's CLIPS initiative, and landing was only the start. Over the course of 14 days, Firefly's Blue Ghost lander operated 10 NASA instruments on the moon's surface and enabled several first-of-its-kind demonstrations. Key operations included tracking GPS signals on the moon for the first time, validating new ways to mitigate hazardous lunar dust, demonstrating radiant-tolerant computing, and robotically drilling and collecting science deeper into the lunar surface than ever before. Ultimately, the science data Firefly was able to capture for the 10 NASA instruments, in addition to the operational data, including how radiators perform with lunar dust buildup and how nearby terrain affects a lander's thermal equilibrium, is invaluable for future robotic and human missions. In total, Blue Ghost sent nearly 120 gigabytes of data back to Earth, significantly surpassing the mission requirements and unlocking new insights that will have a substantial impact on future human and robotic missions to the Moon and Mars. Firefly's bold innovation, rigorous testing, and the dedication of its mission team were central to overwhelming success of Blue Ghost Mission 1. As such, the American Astronautical Society hereby awards Firefly's Blue Ghost Mission won the AAS Space Technology Award for the first fully successful commercial moon landing, marking the longest commercial operations on the moon to date. Firefly, congratulations.
Blue Ghost Riders, the path to the stars is no longer limited to nations alone. Firefly is building the road to the next frontier, one mission and one dream at a time. Tonight, we didn't just reach another mission milestone. Together, we created a moment in history.
Chief Engineer on Ops. Y'all select the landing. We're on the moon.
All right, well, thank you. First, we want to thank the American Astronautical Society. Firefly is honored to receive this prestigious Space Technology Award. We also want to thank Dr. Nikki Fox and the entire NASA administration for supporting Firefly and enabling this commercial lunar economy through the NASA Commercial Lunar Payload Services Initiative. On March 2nd, just over a year ago, Firefly made history as the first commercial company to successfully land on the moon. Our Blue Ghost lunar lander delivered 10 NASA payload surface 10 NASA science and technology instruments to the moon and operated for more than 14 days on the lunar surface. As operators on the mission, we had somewhat limited insight into the data returned to Earth, so we're just now beginning to see the first published results as the scientists get the data from their NASA instruments and discovering what they have achieved during that mission, including Lugray's tracking GPS and GNSS signals on the moon for the first time, Lister's thermal data from the tip of their drill a meter below the surface, EDS's tech for mitigating hazardous lunar dust, LMS's measurements of the moon's interior, and Lexi's images of the lunar exosphere. Beyond the planned payload operations, Firefly also took the opportunity to perform several bonus operations, including capturing a total solar eclipse on March 14th, when the Earth blocked the sun and cast a shadow on the lunar surface for over 2 hours of totality. The team also captured a lunar sunset on March 16th, providing data on how lunar dust levitates and creates a horizon glow, first documented by Eugene Cernan on Apollo 17. There is so much that we're going to be learning for years to come. In total, Blue Ghost downlinked almost 120 gigabytes of data and unlocked critical science for NASA and industry that benefits both future human and robotic missions to the moon, Mars, and beyond.
It was ultimately the team's technical innovation, robust testing, and unwavering dedication to the mission that allowed us to make this mission possible. So we'd like to dedicate this award to the entire Blue Ghost Mission 1 team, and that's including our NASA customers and our industry partners and the payload providers. I think this mission really emphasized the importance of teamwork. NASA wasn't only our anchor tenant, but was also there with us for all of the science operations, the rehearsals, offering backroom support when we needed niche specialists, and giving us as a starting point the historical data we needed to design the lander in the first place. We always achieve greater things when we leverage the best of both commercial and government worlds, and NASA was a fantastic partner on Blue Ghost Mission 1. This incredible mission team proved to the world that commercial industry has a critical role to play in space exploration, and that the path to the moon, to Mars, and beyond is no longer limited to nations alone. We look forward to partnering with NASA on our next mission, this time to the far side of the moon, so that we can peer into the cosmic dark ages for the first time. The future, I think, is very exciting, and thank you all for this recognition.
Our next award, the AAS Advancement of International Cooperation Award, selected by our International Programs Committee, is given to recognize global collaborations that have a significant and/or long-lasting impact, are achieved over a significant portion of a career, and influence activities not required by their profession. On June 29, 2023, the world watched as Italy flew its first dedicated human spaceflight mission, a mission enabled by the United States commercial space industry. The historic Galactic 1 flight saw 3 Italian astronauts and more than a dozen research payloads fly to suborbital space on Virgin Galactic's VSS Unity spaceship. Representatives from across Italy participated in the mission, garnering front-page news coverage and meetings with the President of Italy. Italy put its faith in the U.S. commercial spaceflight industry with the Galactic 1 mission, and it resulted in a major accomplishment for international collaboration in space. The Galactic 1 mission demonstrated the power of international collaboration between U.S. commercial space companies and foreign governments to open space for all nations. The mission drew global attention and marked several firsts for Virgin Galactic, including its first commercial spaceflight, first dedicated research mission, and first international customers, establishing Galactic 1 as a trailblazing milestone in the future of commercial spaceflight. As such, the American Astronautical Society hereby awards Virgin Galactic's Galactic 1 mission the AAS Advancement of International Cooperation Award for flying 3 Italian astronauts and over a dozen research payloads to space on Virgin Galactic's spaceship, demonstrating spaceflight capabilities open to all nations. Here to accept the award are pilot Michael Masucci and Colonel Walter Villaday. Please come on up.
On behalf of Virgin Galactic and the entire Galactic 1 team and crew, I would really like to thank the American Astronautical Society for this tremendous honor. The success of our Galactic 1 mission was made possible in no small part by the collaboration, outstanding collaboration with the Italian Air Force, the Italian National Research Council, and our partners in the commercialization space directorate at FAA. As our first space flight, first commercial space flight. I also want to recognize the members of the crew that couldn't be here with us today. They all wanted to come. We had to, have some sanity in our limitations here nowadays. But I'd like to thank pilot Nicola Petula, outstanding work. Astronaut instructor Colin Bennett was on board as well. And then joining Walter were astronaut researchers Angelo Landolfi and Leo Carlucci. I'm delighted that Colonel Walter Villaday was commander of the Italian research mission, was able to join us today. He and his crew were instrumental in the success of the spaceflight mission and in the long preparation that led to the success of the research portion of the mission as well. You know, our two countries, Italy and the U.S., share a very rich history of aerospace cooperation, and now that also includes suborbital spaceflight. Walter and his Italian crew set the standard as our first spaceflight, commercial spaceflight, and our first research flight, but they set the standard not only for how two nations and several institutions can collaborate, but really important is how on a single mission we can successfully conduct both autonomous and human-intended research to benefit governments, corporations, institutions, and international partners, and academia. Virgin Galactic looks forward to continuing the partnership with our friends in Italy. Hopefully we get to fly them again soon, which will be great, and future partners in both our private space flights and our payload research missions as we prepare our next class of spaceships, our Delta spaceships, to go fly. So thank you very much. It's an extreme honor, and I'd like to hand it over to Walter for a few words. Thanks.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Mike, for your kind words, and thank you, the American Astronautical Society, for this prestigious award. It's an honor to me to represent not only the Italian Air Force, but the National Research Council, which was our partner in building up all the experimental program. The mission was very meaningful for not only the Italian Air Force, but Italy. It was a mission for the first time, a suborbital mission flew by Italy and Europe, but it was also the mission that we flew in 2023, and that was the year marking the centennial of the Italian Air Force. So it was a way to us to renew our commitment to the same pioneering spirit, which since 1923, every day inspired all the women and men in the Air Force supporting not only Italy, but also the partnership with our allies. And as Mike mentioned, it's so important, the collaboration with the United States. Let me point out just a couple of another points. First of all, the mission was conceived since the very beginning, along with the Virgin Galactic, as a mission to prove the high value of suborbital platform, like a new tool to support the academia and the researchers to implement microgravity research. And I guess in this regard, we indeed proved the high value of these platforms, and we can't wait to fly again with experiments with the new Delta class. And secondly, space, you know, I'm dressing the uniform because space is not any longer just a peaceful research environment. So it's much more contested, congested, and competitive. That means there are so many interests colliding and overlapping in space, from the diplomatic standpoints to the military, to the industrial, to the economic. But in all of this context, to really push the scientific research and the technologies development is the only way that we have to keep being relevant and to be at the forefront. So that mission was very instrumental, as Mike was saying about the national space strategy. We really can't wait and look forward to flying again with you and being and making the partnership with the United States even more resilient and stronger, as there are so many things happening like Artemis II coming up and then the replacement of the International Space Station in the next years. So it's a unique moment in time to be in space. So thank you again to Virgin Galactic for this resilient and strong collaboration with the Italian Air Force. Thank you to the organizers for having honored this mission, and looking forward to meeting you again here or back in space. Thank you so much.
Benvenuti nello spazio. Clear on strap.
All payloads active and running. L'equipaggio della Virtute 1 saluta tutta l'Italia. Oggi 100 anni di passione per il volo e 100 anni di ricerca scientifica oggi nello spazio. Aeronautica Militare e CNR insieme in volo verso il futuro.
Congratulations again.